All right, guys. So I wanted to make this video today. It is December 18th. It is 6:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're looking at the 6-hour time frame for the S&P 500. Today was a very interesting day on the stock market. I did take a trade, and it was successful. It wasn't a big trade. It was a very small trade. There's a few reasons why I was very cautious going into the market today. I'll get into that into a second. I want to dive into kind of the price action here on the 6-hour time frame first, and kind of what I saw here and why I took that trade. So on the 6-hour time frame, what was very nice to see this morning, and what definitely gave me a little bit of confidence to go long, was the fact that the 3 a.m. candle on Monday, December 18th, opened up and it closed at 9 a.m. today, right? This candle created a lower high, a higher high, a bullish engulfing, and it broke out of the range that it's been in since Wednesday last week. And it broke 47.86. So it broke out of the range. It gave me a lower high, a higher high, and a bullish engulfing, suggesting a move higher and some continuation, which we definitely got. Now, as you can see, we are basically at all-time highs. Like, I don't have any levels above where we're at. Like, I have nothing above where we're at. The highest level that I have is 4803.75, and on the 6-hour time frame, that's the highest the 6-hour time frame has ever gotten to on ES1 is 4803.75. That's the highest we've ever been. So going into this trade, I was very cautious for the following reasons. The first reason is QQQ is weaker on the day, or was weaker on the day today, as opposed to SPY. NQ1 is also weaker than ES1. So when QQQ is weaker on the day than SPY and we're in an uptrend, typically the move higher, if we get it, is very slow, very choppy, and very grindy. When it's the other way around and QQQ is stronger on the day and we're in an uptrend, and so is SPY, typically the move is a lot quicker, it's smooth, it's fast. And as a day trader, that's what you want. You want that volatility. You like that. So the QQQ factor, the fact that it was weaker on the day, significantly weaker on the day than SPY, I didn't like that. That told me that the move that we were going to get higher was probably going to be pretty slow. So the volatility was going to be dead. That's the first thing. The second thing is, like I said, we are at all-time highs basically, and because of that, there's massive levels of resistance. We don't know how far up the price could go, or if this is it, and now we get a huge reversal. Like, we really don't know that, so you got to play this very cautiously because we don't know if it can even go higher at this point. We're at a massive level of resistance, and for all we know, this could be it before a huge dump. And we need to be very cautious because of that. The third reason is the daily time frame on ES is so overextended. We haven't had a red candle in so long. And on the weekly time frame, it's even worse. On the weekly time frame, we haven't had a single red candle since literally October. Like, that is crazy. I haven't seen this in I don't think I've ever seen this before. I've never seen so many green candles in a row on the weekly time frame. Like, that's actually crazy. So to say that we're not overextended is an understatement. We're so overextended to the upside on the weekly and daily time frames. We're so overdue for a pullback. It's just a matter of time before we get a pullback. We needed pullback for sure before we can go significantly higher. Like, sure, we can definitely go a little bit higher and we can definitely make a move higher. But to make a significant, dramatic move higher, we definitely need some kind of pullback of relative significance on the weekly and daily time frames. And we haven't gotten that since October. So definitely some of the reasons why I was very cautious going to my trade. And what I mean by cautious is my position size was very low, and I did not hold on to the trade for very long. Rather, my profit target was very near my entry level. So I'm going to kind of go into the trade here and explain where I took it, where I sold it, and why. Now, as you can see, we did hit my target at 4795 on ES. We almost hit my final target of 4803.75 on ES as well. And as I mentioned before, 4803.75 is the highest that we've ever been on the 6 hour time frame for ES. So it's definitely not expecting it to go anywhere near past that. And if we hit that, I would be definitely out for sure. So going to SPY, let's take a look at SPY. So on the 1 hour time frame here, on Friday we finished off the day with basically making a higher low, and with that, a long wick from above, suggesting a lot of weakness to the downside and a potential gap down Monday morning. Now, obviously, we didn't get that. We got the opposite. We got a gap up, which suggested basically a huge bullish engulfing candle was forming in the pre-market, which created a lower high, a higher high, and a bullish engulfing candle, which caused this gap up. So as soon as that candle closed in the 1 hour time frame, I was in. I was in calls right away. I got in at 7:30, and I rode this pretty confidently up to 472.60. That was my target. I was not interested in holding it past that. 472.60 held like a tank today, and it held very well all week last week as well. It held beautifully. 472.60 was a beast of a level, and that trade was a very short trade, right? 80 cents is not a big move, but it was a profitable move, and it was green, so that's all that matters. So one thing that you could have definitely done as well is you could have taken a long at 12:30. And for the people that did, I completely understand why. I personally did not for several reasons, of which I'll get into. But this was a perfect example of what a bull trap is. We had a beautiful lower high followed by a higher high on the 12:30 candle or the 11:30 candle. So lower high at 10:30, higher high at 11:30. So we got a lower high, higher high, and a bullish engulfing, and a break of 472.60. So at 12:30, a lot of people probably were contemplating to go long because on the 50-minute time frame, it looks really good. On the 50-minute time frame, look how many rejections we've had of 472.60. 472.60 was an absolute beast today. It held so many times, and finally at 12:15, that candle broke past 472.60, gave us a lower high, a higher high, and a bullish engulfing, all in the same candle, breaking the level, and at 12:30 it closed. So you had confluidity with the 50-minute time frame and the 1 hour time frame. They were basically saying the exact same thing, to go long. Now, if I were to go long at that point, I would have sold at this area right here. So I would have sold at 473.26. That would have been my profit target if I got into this trade. Again, not a huge trade, but that's fine. Where we're at, we need to be very cautious with going long at this point. You know, if you're a swing trader and you're not already long, or you haven't been long the last few weeks, the last month, it's too late for you at this point. I believe it's too late for you at this point. You should have been in already into longs for the last few weeks. If you're looking to just get into swing trade longs now on SPY, I definitely think you're late to the party. I definitely think you need to let SPY or let the S&P 500 get a pullback and consolidate first before we go for the next move up. You know, there's a lot of reasons why, but this trade here, obviously, as you can see, if you took it, you would have been burned. Now, it depends obviously where your stop loss is, where you would have pulled out. Now, with that trade specifically, obviously it didn't get any continuation. It just immediately reversed and just dumped right away. And if you're still holding that trade, you know, congrats to you. I think you're going to be okay. But the reality is, if you took this trade with all the factors that I currently went over, holding this trade past 1 o'clock or when the market closes is so risky because we're in an area where realistically anything could happen. We're at massive levels of resistance, NQ is weaker than SPY. We're so overextended on multiple time frames. I would have taken this trade, but at 12:30, with only 30 minutes left of the market, I wasn't interested in taking a trade with only 30 minutes left into the market, right? And I was definitely not interested in holding that trade overnight due to several reasons. And those reasons kept me out of this trade. And luckily, I didn't take the trade. Obviously, I would have been burned. But if you did take this trade, it does look like you're going to be okay. If you look at ES right now and what it's doing, ES, it looks like it's actually creating a lower high on the 6-hour time frame. And if it can hold this structure, this candle closes in about 2 hours and 28 minutes. So when that candle closes, hopefully what would be very nice is if it closes green, obviously you'll get a lower high. And hopefully it can close above 479.250. That would give us a higher high in a bullish engulfing. But the best case scenario would be if we could close above 4,795. That would be amazing. And if you're in that trade, I think you're going to be safe and you'll be completely fine. First thing tomorrow morning, we might even get a gap up, so you'll be fine. So for those that did take that trade and didn't sell, I do believe you're going to be okay. But again, it was not something that I was willing to take due for the fact that, like I said many times, QQQ is weaker than SPY. We're at all-time highs. We're very overextended on multiple time frames, and with only 30 minutes left of the market, wasn't a good trade in my opinion. So with that being said, I do expect the market to hold its structure for the next 2 hours or so. And if we do, we could definitely see a move higher in the overnight session. If you are considering going long, I would absolutely close everything as soon as we hit 48.0375. 48.0375, in my opinion, is going to be a dead stop. I don't think we're going to go much higher than that unless we get a pullback on the daily and weekly time frames, consolidate for a bit, and then go for the next leg up. We've had zero lower high on the weekly time frame since October. We desperately need one. Once we get one and it's finished and we get a confirmation that it's over, then for sure I'll be looking at getting into swing longs and holding it past 48.0375 for a new all-time high. But until we get that, I have no interest in taking a long trade for multiple weeks. Not a good idea in my opinion. You have to be very cautious. So with that being said, I do think that we could see a move higher depending on how the market closes here at 9 o'clock. But with how the market has been and where we're at, you guys need to be very cautious going long due to several factors that I went over. But one thing that I think is very helpful and very beneficial that you all should be doing is you need to be very patient with your setups and very patient with your trades. Do not take a trade unless your entire checklist is hit. You all have a strategy. You all have a checklist. Unless every single box on that checklist is ticked off, you should not be taking a trade. You should take the perfect setups that look exactly the way you want them to look. And when you see that setup, load up with confidence, set your take profit, set your stop loss if you need to, and walk away from the screen. Day trading is all about emotional regulation. If you can't handle your emotions, you're not gonna last in the game, right? You need to be able to manage panic selling, fear, greed, patience. And for me, I find the easiest way for me to manage my emotions is look for that perfect setup, take the setup, take the trade, load up on the trade, set my take profit, and walk away. Walk away. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, it is what it is. There's always a next trade. You're going to take losses in this game. It's inevitable. The more comfortable you are with realizing that you are going to have losing trades, the easier this is. You are going to lose money here and there, and you are going to make a ton of money if you are good at this. So it's something that you have to accept, and the sooner you swallow that pill, the better. Day trading is one of the most lucrative businesses in the entire world. And for that reason, it's also one of the hardest businesses in the entire world. And you need to treat it with respect, and you need to log all of your trades and keep track of everything you're doing if you want to be successful in this. So that being said, guys, it's December 18th. I hope this video helped out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.